Welcome to Faith, Purpose, and Freedom, where we share real hope, real stories, real impact. Today, I have Ioana with me from Switzerland, and she is going to educate us on some mental well being and help us grow with her and share just a little bit of how she can help our audience. Also, welcome, Ioana. I'm so excited to have you with me today.
Thank you, Kayla. Thank you for inviting me. And yeah, let's answer those questions, which I guess a lot of people have on their minds today. And
Yeah.
only as we were
I
saying, yeah,
I
we
definitely, yeah, like we were talking beforehand, and I've noticed just since we talked and scheduled, so many people are really just struggling with mental health, and it's a hard time in the world. We have politics, and then we have social media, and that just leads so much in the news. And then people are struggling in their personal lives, their work lives, their financial lives. So I'm excited to see what you have to help us bring all of that together.
yeah, I truly believe it's kind of the new pandemic, if you ask me. After
Yeah.
Corona in 2020, I really believe that there is a mental health crisis. And it's more because people finally started talking about it. Because in the past, everyone was there. There was a lot of stigma, and there still is a lot of stigma, especially in some countries.
Yeah,
But people started to open up more about it to realize that if they don't talk about it, nothing will ever change. Yeah. So I'm
I
super
agree.
happy that there is that awareness around mental health, around mental well being. Yeah. But yes.
That's so true. I never thought of it like that. That is, I mean, for years, and even I go back to my childhood, and
Sure.
you know, people I love dearly, they struggled with their mental health, but they would have never admitted it, and it was definitely a silence thing. So that's true.
And it's so funny you mentioned the childhood because actually that's where everything starts, right? And
Right.
also for us, I mean, you well know that our minds operate on the two levels the conscious mind, which is 5%, which is the intentional, which is what we decide, what we plan, what we tell ourselves that we want. And then there is the subconscious one, which is the 95%. The automated, the one that is running in the background 24 hours a day, completely outside of our awareness. Yeah.
Right.
And this is what we have stuck so much in our subconscious mind. And just to give you some examples, tying our shoes, yeah, that is subconscious. Driving is subconscious because you just get on the wheel
Yeah.
and just drive. It's
Right.
so yeah. But subconscious is also the way we respond when someone raises their voice, the way we shrink when we need something, and the way we say yes before the other person finishes their sentence.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do that. I I do that. Yeah.
That's automated, Kayla. That's not something that you are choosing, right? It is running us. Yeah. So everything in our lives, the relationships, the money, the level of happiness when we wake up is a result we are producing based on psychological decisions our subconscious makes automatically. And it's
Right.
not asking for our permission. Yeah. It's just there.
Yeah.
It does it. So
We
whenever,
already we
yeah,
already just are it's like a program, it's already programmed. That makes so much
exactly.
sense.
Exactly. So the husband, I know I'm talking to the women because I assume a lot of women are watching your show, right? Your podcast.
Oh,
The
yeah.
husband who drains you, the boss who doesn't see you, the friendships where you give and never receive, you did something to get them. Yeah. Now, the question is could you have done something to get it in a better way? Yes.
Probably.
Yes. But could you have done something to get it worse? Also, yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, what people forget to understand is that actually the level of happiness is 100% in their hands. I lost you. You're back now. Okay. No worries. So I was saying that the level of happiness is 100% in your hands, right? So based on your psychology, you decide based on your beliefs. And let me tell you something about beliefs, Kayla. They are 80 to 90% of your mental software. Yeah. So they are so deeply rooted that even if someone gives you a good argument, there is very little chance that you will change your mind. So if we think of examples, right? I mean, you might have a conversation with your husband or a friend, and they tell you something, and it might be that in the middle of the conversation, you are like, "Oh, maybe they are right," but because your belief is so strong, you will never say it. Yeah. So opinions are the ones that can change. So once you get a good enough argument against them, you can change your opinion. But beliefs, not so much. We don't give up in something that we are really, really sure that that's how it is. Yeah, exactly. And guess what happens with the beliefs? What do we do based on our beliefs? We make decisions, yes? So we believe in something, we make a decision, and we get the results which we end up not liking. Mhm. It it's all about asking yourself what is the belief that you have? What is the pattern? Because these are patterns that you mentioned really nicely. You said that it's a software, right? It's something, it's a program that was installed. So, between the ages of 0 to 7 years old, we get everything from our parents, our caregivers. So, it can be parents, it can be, I don't know, grandparents, uncles, aunties, or a person who really influenced the way we saw things. If we had a teacher who told us, oh, this is really good, and we really like that teacher, in our mind, in our subconscious, will create that, yeah, what that person told me was true. She was right. I need to follow that my whole life, right? So that's the subconscious, the program that it's installed. And just to give you another example, you might know people who are earning a lot of money, but at the end of each month, they never have money. They're always struggling. Yes. So those are the people that actually their subconscious is telling them you're not worth it. You don't deserve the money. Because it might be that as children, they were told as such, you're not worth it. You're not worth it. You don't deserve it. So even if they worked hard, because this is the other side of the coin. They're like, I'll show you, I'll prove it to you, right? In the conscious mind, like, yeah, you think I'm not worth it. You think I don't deserve it. I'll show you, mom. I'll show you, dad, what I will become. Yeah. But until you work on the pattern and until you really see, okay, where exactly did it start? Who told me this? No changes. Yeah. Uh, Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. And you mentioned your grandfather and the beliefs, that you had even up to last year. So, based on the beliefs that we have, we filter everything around us. Yeah. We draw conclusions, and those conclusions are formed subconsciously and have more access to us than our resources because they are stronger. Yeah. So, and when they are formed back in the childhood, that I said between the 0 and 7 years old, they are like a sponge because our minds, the mind of a kid between 0 and 7, they have those waves. They are called the theta waves. I'm sure you heard about it, you know? So that time, the child's brain is like a sponge. Everything is observed, everything is experienced, everything is concluded about how the world works. And everything is stored as truth, as a conviction. Yeah. So if a child is told, blonde women are not trustworthy, or this, he simply listens to a conversation between his parents that they are talking about a blonde woman, and maybe the mom says, oh, you cannot trust blonde women. And that child will get it deep into his subconscious that blonde women are not trustworthy. And when he's an adult, she, guess what happens? He will encounter a woman who is blonde, and something bad will happen just for the brain to show him, see, I told you were right. I told you not to trust blonde women. Mm, mm, yeah, mm, 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 yeah, but this is again the belief, right? Because those people were really believing, because they were told by their parents, look, if your child plays with someone who's from that type of family, they will not end up well, right? And that was their belief. And also now in the society, a lot of parents think, oh, if you will, don't play with that child, or don't play with that, or don't do that because it's bad. Yeah. But the question is, what is bad and what is good? What is bad and what is good? Because for each and every person, bad and good are totally different things. Even for the two of us, might be two different things. I would say we are just different, or the situations are just different. Like something that you believe in, it might not be for me, but it doesn't mean that it's bad or good. It's just different. And it's the level of acceptance, Kayla, which I believe it's so low nowadays that people find it hard to accept when you tell them something else. So they immediately jump on you, or they immediately come with their suppositions and everything that no, 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 it should not be like that. But again, it's about the beliefs. Yeah. And that's why we experience everything that we experience as reality. Yes. Okay. Now, if it helps, we can do a quick exercise for you and for your viewers. I want you to think of a situation in your life right now that keeps you stuck. Anything. It can be a relationship, a pattern, something that you cannot change. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. And now I want you to ask all the questions that comes to your mind about the situation. Any question. Mm-hmm. More? Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, first of all, I would like to congratulate you because none of your questions started with why. Because I can bet if there were even five ladies in this room and they would have done the same exercise, at least two or three of them, they would have had the why question. Yeah. And the why questions are not questions. And I know it sounds wrong, but um, the why questions, they are convictions that wear a mask. So they do not search for an answer, they search for a confirmation that you are stuck, that this is just who you are, that nothing will change. Yeah. This is the why question. And now going back to you, because I would like to give you maybe a point of view. Uh, who told you in your childhood that you cannot make enough money or why you're so scared? Where did But now it's time for you to stop that pattern. And you should start with just asking yourself, what is it that is blocking me? What is there for me to see regarding finances that I'm not seeing? What were the beliefs in my family? Maybe I don't know, because a lot of like in my family was like you need to work hard for your money, or what else? We cannot just spend. We need to put everything aside. Yes, which created. Mm, mm, yeah. Mm, 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 yeah. Yeah. Mm, yeah. Exactly. So, especially when it comes to like when it comes to finances and when it comes to relationships, the beliefs and the patterns are really deep because it's something, first of all, you've seen your family struggle. Yes. You've seen your family struggle, your grandparents. So, it's a long line of people behind you who struggle financially. So, even if you say, I deserve it, try to feel your body when you say that. Like, how is your body? Like, do you kind of feel it maybe in your chest, maybe in your belly area, or maybe in your throat? Like, yeah, you say you deserve it, but yeah, do you really? Mhm. Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mhm. Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, what I see is that you've done a lot of identity work. It's going back to manifesting. I truly believe in manifestation. But if the foundation is not solid, so if there are a lot of patterns which are still there, a lot of beliefs, a lot of trauma which is still there, uh, you can be grateful all day. You can journal all day. You can say, "Oh, I'm worth it. I will have millions in my account." That will never happen. Yeah. So first you need to see, okay, what was the belief? Which did I take? Okay, it was this one. Okay, now let's see, what did it protect me from? Because actually all the patterns that happened to us, it protected us at a certain point. It was our coping mechanism. Yeah. So you can even ask yourself, okay, this was the belief I took from my parents. How did it help me? How did it serve me? Yeah. Yeah, I was more responsible with money. Maybe I was able to put money aside to really buy something that I really wanted. So really need to make a list of benefits. How did that help you? And afterwards, to really say, okay, thank you so much. You've served me. I get it. But now it's time to move on. Yeah. Of course, I would say it's another ladder, another devil, right? So even whenever, why do you think even big names such as Tony Robbins or whoever, they still have their coaches? Tony Robbins has about 6 coaches. Yeah. Because it comes to a point, like I also have my mentor, I'm seeing every month. Because sometimes there are certain questions or certain things that I do not see myself as well as another person would. Yeah. And I want you to think of a question as a torch. It illuminates exactly where you point it. So if you point it at failures, at minuses, everything that happens in your life, guess what you will see? The failures. Exactly. Yeah. But if you point the question again at why you cannot, Why I cannot do this? God, tell me why I cannot do this. Well, you will see only walls in front of you. As a person, you have all the answers inside of you. You are just asking the wrong questions. Mhm. Or- Exactly. Exactly. And going back to what you said, there will always be times. I mean, you learn the lesson, you move on, and after a period of time, there comes another lesson. And I kind of start, okay, here is point A, you move, and suddenly you just fall down to point B. Yes? And human mind, a lot of the times, they just want to go back to point A because they know it. It's so familiar. And even if they struggled, they don't want to go up to point C because they're like, yeah, I don't know what's there. What if it's worse? Yeah. So it's okay. I'm going back to that husband who cheated on me, who maybe beat me, or I'm going back to that job who was so not good for me because it's not my purpose, but I knew it and I survived it. Yeah. So it's again the pattern and the familiarity of what that offered you. So it again, I'm going to the childhood just to give you an example. If you are raised as a girl, especially, I'm talking to women now, if your father was absent emotionally, guess what type of husband you will choose? An emotionally absent one. Because that was familiar for you. You thought this is how it should be. Yeah. Or if you saw your mom struggling a lot, yeah, because your dad was not there, what you can do as a woman, even if you will say, I want to be in a relationship, I really want someone in my life, but your subconscious will block it. Because your subconscious will say, no, you saw your mom so unhappy, you don't need a man in your life. So you will become that strong woman, and you see a lot of those. I see them all the time. A strong woman, capable, maybe running a company, but she's all by herself. Mm, 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 mhm, mm, mm. Okay. Mm, yep, yep. Mhm, yes. Yeah, 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 yeah. Mm. Yes, I believe the same. I believe the same. I really do believe that every person who is hurting, every person who yells or they just trigger you to the maximum of your capacity, actually they are hurting themselves. So they are people with so much pain because of their childhood. And maybe they are not aware of that. Maybe they do not know how to work on that. And that's why you see so many addictions as well. Yeah. So many people drinking, so many people taking drugs because that's the easier way out. I, yeah. Yeah. Mm. Mm. Yeah, that's unfortunately the reality, and I do hope that yeah, I mean, I know there's a lot of work on trauma being done, but of course, first of all, I mean, chapeau to you, right? Like big hats off to you because you, as a mom, you really wanted your child out of that, and you were behind him and his recovery 100%. Yeah. But there are a lot of parents, and I guess you know that they simply do not care. They simply do not care. And if you don't have a good enough support system, unfortunately, you're lost. You're either, I mean, there are cases that they really hit rock bottom and they're like, no, no, no more. I really want out of this. And then, of course, they rise and they change their lives. And you can see stories, people who wrote books and, talk about it, fictions. But many and the majority of them, they are simply lost because they don't have that person to really say, "Hey, I care about you. You need to do something about it. Let's work it out together." Yeah, you're very true. And it's not just in the US, also here in Europe happens the same thing. Like they go in their rehab and once they're out, there is nothing. And they feel so lost that they either start using again or they simply take their own life because there's no more support system in place, right? They are in the rehab. There is a program. There are people. There are always, all these kind of things that you do on a daily basis. And when you're out and there's nobody, you're like, yeah, and now what? Yeah. Mhm. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. And you're talking about this. Let's you know the law of duality or polarity, that everything in the universe is black and white. Everything is with a plus and a minus. I think this is what would help a lot of people because look, our brains, the way it works, it's set up for survival. Yeah. So your brain wants you to survive. Your brain doesn't care that, I don't know, you want to start gym tomorrow, you want to start a diet, you want to learn Chinese. Yeah. Your brain wants you to survive. Okay. But your brain wants also the happy island. Always happiness. I want to be happy, happy, happy. Yes. All these good vibes. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's not possible. It's simple. Yeah. Of course, and it's perfectly fine. But what I want to tell people is whenever they are in a situation which for them seems to be really bad, like let's take your situation with your son, yeah? If you now think about it, and I know back then probably it was shit, right? It was just like, oh my God, what will I do? Oh my God, what will I do? Okay. So what? Yeah. So, what were your lessons? How did that episode help Kyla? Mm, mhm, mm, mhm. Okay. I'll get back to the forgiveness part because it's something that I want to address. But was the time with your son with the addiction back then and the use, was it the time you went closer to God? Mm, 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 mm. Congratulations, Brett. Yeah, that's the most important thing for sure. Mm. But see, this is what I mean with the law of polarity, the plus and the minus. Because back then, I'm sure you saw everything as a minus. Yeah. Yes, yes. But now, if you look back at it and you can see, okay, for me, like I'm telling you what I heard, right? How closer you got to God, and God is so important for you today. Yes. Yeah. Then the connection and the relationship you have with Jordan, and the woman who became stronger, the Kayla which is today, the Kayla who is today, and what Kayla is. Yeah. So I invite everyone who is watching this podcast, whenever something happens in your life and you perceive it, because it's your brain that perceives it as something which is very, very awful, it has only downsides. Try to look at the positives, because I can promise you they are there. And you might not see them now, but I promise you that you will see. And you will see that it was a reason why it happened the way it did. Mm, 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 mm. Aw. Oh, that's so beautiful. That's yeah, exactly. So if we are wise enough to accept that, our life would be easier, because there is no life without pain, right? And honestly, how I tell my clients every time they're like, hey, this person triggered me, this happened. And I'm like, welcome them. Whenever something bad comes into your life, just treat it as your best guest. Make them a cup of coffee and just say, welcome, thank you that you came, because now it's time for me to learn something else about myself, to go the next step. Yeah. Yes. That's very true, Kayla. That's very true. But yeah, unfortunately, when we just point fingers and it's the this person or the government or my boss or my husband or my parents or like this, and we don't take responsibility on our shoulders, nothing will ever change. It's so easy to become the victim. It's so easy to become like, oh, poor me, my life is so bad. Why is this happening to me? It's very. Mhm. Mm, 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 mm. Oh, why you? Yeah, yeah. Exactly. So the universe has millions of options and opportunities. And when we are just stuck, nothing good can ever happen to us. Yeah. We all have our life stories. We all have the ups and the downs. I don't think I met one person who says, "Oh, my life is amazing." Yeah. We all have our struggles. But the more we focus on the struggles and the more we miss the benefits of the struggles, the lessons, how you call them. Yeah. Mm, exactly. Mm, yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Mm, yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely, Kayla. I really do believe that. I really do. It's beautiful what you're saying. And I said that I will speak a bit about forgiveness because, yes, you mentioned something very beautiful that I forgive people. And what I want to tell people, because a lot of people, they have the I forgive you, but never do that again, in a sense. And when you say in such a way that I forgive you, you either think of yourself better than the other person. But what you said, and I just want to kind of reinforce it, when you forgive a person, it means that you're pouring love from your heart towards the other person. You can pray for that person, even if they did you the wrongest wrong to your life. You can pray for them, you can pour the love from your heart towards them, and then that's the real forgiveness. What? Mm, yeah. Mhm, mhm, mhm. Of course, that's how it starts. Like a lot of people start working on the relationship with mother and father. Yes, and a lot of people are blocked. And actually, it really pains me to say I see a lot of coaches nowadays that they teach people, yeah, it was your mother's and your father's fault. And the person is stuck, yeah, because okay, it was my mom and my dad's fault, but now what? Am I stuck there? And that's not what you want for your life. It's like, okay, they did the best that they could with the information they had back then, because there was not a lot of parenting advice back then. And our parents did not read. I mean, honestly, they did not care. They like, okay, that's how it should work. You need to do this, you need to do that, and that's pretty much it, right? But the moment you see, like, okay, how did it help me? Again, going to the benefits, going to the pluses, that what did it do to you? Like, okay, my dad was like this, but what did it teach me? How did I become? How am I today because of him? How am I today because of my mom? And another one, just look at the mirror. And that's the most painful thing a person does, to really see, oh, okay, they did like this. So where do I do the same? And that's the moment it changes, because when you realize that what you're complaining about another person, be it your husband, your parents, your children, your boss, whoever, and you do the same yourself, you're like, okay, get it. Yeah. Mm, very true. Mm, mm. Oh yeah, that's the easiest thing. Complaining is the easiest thing, because it takes the blame away from you, and you do not look inside to see where it's you and what you can do for that situation, and points it at everything and everyone else. Mm, mhm. Yes, I fully agree with you. But going back also to the Bible and also to the polarity law of the universe, it cannot happen, because everything has to be yin and yang. Everything has to be plus and minus. And that's when actually, like, people, when they watch news and they're like, oh my God, this happened and it's so bad. But maybe look at the other side of the world and see what's the good that happened there that balances the whole situation. Or in your relationship, maybe your husband did something which was super annoying today, but who in your life did something which was super nice the same day? Yeah. Because it might be that your kids did something for you, or you went to work and your colleagues praised you, or your boss praised you. But no, you're looking at the one person who maybe told you something and you're like, oh my God, my day was terrible. Exactly. But it's like our brain shows us what we are focusing on. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, but that is why it's so important not to get attached to things, not to get attached to your thoughts, because they are just thoughts. And they're probably they're not even yours. As I said, maybe they are your parents. The thoughts that you have, maybe it's your mom speaking that you heard her, I don't know how many years ago, and she's still inside you telling something. Mm. Mm. Mhm. Mm. Mm. Yeah. Mm. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. But Kayla, this is exactly what happens when you start working on yourself. Yeah. Uh, yes. Yeah. So unless you do that work with yourself, the identity work, smashing the beliefs, seeing the patterns, seeing everything, you as a person, who you really are. Yeah. And then you will see everything around you changes. Your relationships will change. And I know it's difficult. Look, I've been there. Honestly, when I started this work, I've started it because uh I was triggered. I was triggered at work. Like I wanted to leave my husband, my daughter, she was 2 years old back then. She was triggering me every day. And I became the mom that I didn't want to be. And I was listening to podcast ran by a therapist, and that person said, once you change, everything around you changes. And that sentence triggered me so much that I was curious to see what exactly is he saying. Because at that point, I believed that I'm so perfect and it was everyone else's fault. Yeah. Exactly. No, I was like, no, but it's not my fault. It's his, it's hers. It's like, why? She's yelling. Like, it's not my fault. Yeah. But once I started changing, I saw the change as well. Yeah. As you said, relationship with my mom. Like with my mom before, we could stay together for 2 days and then we were fighting. Yeah. And now, as you say, she's my best friend. We call each other every day. Like she's everything that I always wanted to be. And I could not see it until then. Yeah. Because I had abandonment wound, I had rejection wound, I had all these things which were piling up and I could not see because of that. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 So they can find me on Facebook, they can find me LinkedIn, YouTube, pretty much everywhere. And for me, I mostly work with women because I really do believe that us with women, we have so much on our plates. Yeah. We are everyone's answer, but nobody's priority. So what I do is literally help women who hold everything together come back to themselves. Yeah. So that's what I do. And just very quickly, maybe for your listeners, very quickly, a very quick exercise. If I invite them to think about the belief that they have, maybe I'm not enough, right? And there are 5 questions I want them to ask themselves. One, is it true? The second one, is it absolutely true? Then, how does the thought make you feel? How does the thought make you act? What's the outcome of the thought? How would I feel without the thought? How would I act? And what's the outcome of not having the thought? And what's the opposite of the thought that's bothering you? Yeah. Amen. And once you do this exercise, you will see that actually you even forgot about that belief. Exactly. Exactly.